next class. In today's class, we are going to discuss the third event, that is how ovule will develop into seed. Okay. Now, first of all, seed, all of you know that seed is a fertilized ovule. Alright, seed is a fertilized ovule, and there are some types of seed, that is endospermic, that means seeds in which the endosperm will remain intact when the seed is matured, right? So, endosperm remains intact. Now, this is mostly found in monocots like wheat, maize, castor, which is an exception, then coconut, etc. You already know the endospermic seeds are also known as albuminous seeds. Next, non-endospermic seeds. Non-endospermic seeds means the seeds in which the endosperm will be exhausted by the time it matures. So, endosperm is exhausted. It is mostly found in the dicots. Example can be pea, bean, groundnut, etc. Alright, also we can call the non-endospermic seeds to be ex-albuminous seeds. Another one which is very rare is perispermic seed. See, in most seeds, by the time it is matured, the nucellus would get degenerated. But then there are a few seeds in which the nucellus or a faint lining of the nucellus might still remain intact. So such seeds with a faint lining of the nucellus is known as perispermic seed, and that faint lining or faint you can say remains of the nucellus will be known as the perisperm. Okay, so seeds with part of the nucellus intact is called perispermic seed, right? Example will be beet, black pepper. Alright, now let us discuss the structure of seed. Again, you all very well know that the seed consists of three parts. One is the seed coat, another is endosperm, and third is the embryo. Now, seed coat is the outermost protective layer present in the seed which develops from the integument. You know that the integuments are two, that is outer integument and inner integument, isn't it? The outer integument will give rise to the outer layer of the seed coat, that is called testa, whereas the inner integument will give rise to the inner layer of the seed coat, that's called tegmen. So testa and tegmen together makes up the seed coat. Alright. Now in the seed coat, a minute pore will remain, that is going to mark the micropyle, and also there will be a scar mark present in the seed coat which is called hilum, right? The point of attachment of the seed with the fruit. So these two are also to be remembered, hilum and a pore which marks the micropyle. Alright, so through this pore itself, the seed is going to imbibe water or oxygen so that it can germinate. Regarding endosperm, we have already discussed. The endosperm is the food-laden tissue that is going to provide nourishment to the developing embryo. In a seed, if in case it is an endospermic seed, the endosperm will remain present, and in case it is a non-endospermic seed, it will remain absent. So it might remain present in case of endospermic seed, or else it might remain absent in case of non-endospermic seed. Alright. Now, embryo. It is the most important part of the seed, which is the progenitor of the next generation. So it is going to give rise to a mature plant and help in continuity of generation. Next, let's discuss dormancy and seed germination. First, dormancy. The inability of the seed to germinate is going to be termed as dormancy. So the period of inactivity of the embryo when the seed is not able to germinate is going to be called as dormancy. During dormancy period, the moisture content of the seed reaches 10 to 15%. Okay, the moisture content of the seed would become 10 to 15% during dormancy period. Germination. Now the ability of the seed to give rise to a seedling during favorable condition is called seed germination. So, is the ability of the seed to give rise to a seedling under favorable conditions like appropriate moisture level in the surrounding or adequate amount of oxygen or proper temperature, etc. Now, a very important fact regarding the seeds. We say that seeds form the basis to agriculture, isn't it? Now, which property of the seeds would allow them to act as a basis to agriculture? There are these two properties which are very helpful, that is dehydration and dormancy. Dehydration means the content of water that is present in the seed which goes around 10 to 15% while the seed is dormant or inactive, isn't it? So dehydration and dormancy, these two factors will allow the seeds to be stored throughout so that we can keep on using them to grow crops the next season as well. If these two properties would not have been there in the seed, we could have never stored the seeds, and in that case growing crops in the next season would have become very difficult. So that's why these two properties are very, very important for you to remember. So now we have reached the last part of seeds, that is the third event, ovule into seed. That is about seed viability. You very well know that the ability of a seed to allow germination, to germinate into a new young plant is called seed viability, isn't it? Now a seed viability can differ from one plant to another. Like in certain plants like oxalis, the seed viability will be only retained for a few months, alright? But then in certain plants on the other hand, seed viability can be taken up to hundreds of years. A few interesting examples are as follows, like Lupinus arcticus. The seed of Lupinus arcticus was excavated from Arctic tundra and it germinated and flowered after 10,000 years of dormancy. Another interesting example is of a seed, a viable seed, which was extracted during an excavation of King Herod's palace near Dead Sea. This seed, it remained viable for 2000 years and it belonged to date palm, that is Phoenix dactylifera. So that is regarding the ovule into seed part. The last part that is left is how an ovary will develop into fruit. So now all of you know that fruit is a ripened ovary, right? Just like ovule ripens into seed, likewise the ovary ripens into a fruit, right? Now, the outer wall of the fruit is called pericarp. It's called pericarp, isn't it? And it develops from the ovarian wall. The ovarian wall itself modifies into the outermost layer of the fruit, that is pericarp. Now if you remember, pericarp consists of three distinct layers, right? Not in all fruits fine, but in fleshy fruits, right? Pericarp can be again differentiated into three layers, that is epicarp, mesocarp and endocarp. Epicarp is the outermost layer, mesocarp is the middle layer and endocarp is the innermost layer. Innermost layer. Alright? So now types of fruit. Now we are not going to talk here about the classification of fruit that you have learned in the morphology chapter, where you have seen so many different types or categories of fruit. Here we are going to discuss the types of fruit. Okay? You again know or try to recall, there are three types of fruit based on their origin, isn't it? First is eucarp or true fruit, right? The one that directly develops from the ovary, right? The one that directly develops from the ovary is going to be known as eucarp. Eu means true, carp means fruit. So, true fruit. The second one is about pseudocarp. Pseudocarp or false fruit. As you already know that pseudo means false. So pseudocarp or false fruit means a fruit that develops from some other floral part, some accessory part apart from the ovary, right? That develops from accessory part other than the ovary. Right? Like in case of apple. In apple, the edible part develops from fleshy thalamus or receptacle. It is not directly arising from the ovary. That's why apple, or in that case pear, they are known as false fruits. Okay. So here also, if I write an example, it would be most ideal mango, and here apple and pear. Alright. Now the third and the last type would be parthenocarpic fruit. Parthenocarpic fruit means fruits which develops without any fertilization. Alright. The fruits which are set up without fertilization is going to be called as parthenocarpic fruit. Okay. Alright. So in that case, parthenocarpic fruits, they are seedless because they are going to be born without fertilization. That's why they are seedless. Examples can be grapes or banana. Right? Now, a very, very important point for you to learn here is that, see, whenever a flower is getting converted into a fruit, okay, after fertilization, of course, I'm talking about normal process. So usually whenever a fruit is getting developed, there will be certain kind of stimulus or trigger that it will require. Okay, so these triggers, they come in 3 stages. Okay, first stage. So here we are talking about triggers or stimulus by which a fruit develops. The first one comes during pollination. When pollination occurs, this is the first trigger that now fruit development can begin. Second trigger will come during seed formation. So after fertilization, after successful production of the embryo, as the embryo will start developing, the ovule will start developing into a seed, and the seed formation will act as a trigger for fruit development. And finally is availability of nutrients. Availability of nutrients is a very, very important, the third trigger that will finally convert the ovary into a fruit. Alright. So this much for the last part. Now next we reach the last topic of the chapter, and that is apomixis.